Hello everybody, welcome. My name is Jessica and this is my Pan Those Eyeshadows update number 2. You're all joining me in front of my fireplace today. I thought it'd be a good place to film because it's cute and festive for the fall, and today is November 1st, so that's why you still see there's like Halloween decorations behind me, but I'm gonna let them hang out for a few more days. Witches don't just need to come out on Halloween, they can be out year-round. I'm really just kind of feeling things out in my apartment, seeing where the best places are to film at the best time of day, and my options are limited, so enjoy my cozy hearth here. I'm so excited to share with you all the progress I've made. This is the first time I'm gonna get to roll in new eyeshadows, so this project's really getting exciting for me. I'm having a lot of fun using up my eyeshadows and just kind of getting use of the palettes that have been getting neglected. So I realized that people who maybe just stumbled across this video or aren't familiar with this project might not know what exactly I'm talking about. So I'm just going to give a brief summary about what this project is all about and kind of why I'm doing it. And if you're not interested and you already know, which most of you probably do, because that's probably why you're watching this video, go ahead and skip ahead. Pan Those Eyeshadows started about 2 years ago with a YouTuber named Alexi, and I believe she was the first. And I also found this project through somebody named Rebecca Morgan. So I'm sure if you watch Pan Those Eyeshadows videos, you're very familiar with both of those people. But I really think it was started because the market was just so saturated with eyeshadow palettes. Companies have been coming out with palette after palette after palette for so many years now that I think people were just getting overwhelmed and their collections were getting too big. So instead of buying the next new thing and always trying to get, you know, the newest release, they instead looked at their collection that they have and wanted to get use of that and make it fun. And I think that's kind of why this project started. And I thought it was really fun because it was just a way to get more creative and push yourself, challenge yourself to use shades that you wouldn't normally use. And that's definitely true for me in the shadows that are represented in my project. Maybe some of them I would have gone to, but others I probably never would have touched. So it's definitely been an adventure and learned some things, and I can't wait to share that with all of you. So without further ado, let's get into the shadows. All right, so I'm gonna show you my palettes in order of usage. So I'm gonna show you the most used first and then the least used last. So the first shade we're gonna talk about is in my Anastasia Beverly Hills Sultry palette. And we were working on the shade Birch. And drum roll please, you will see that I have hit pan. There it is, that glimmering pan. I did use this maybe once or twice after I hit pan. In total this month, I used this shade 5 times, so I used it 5 more times to hit pan, but in total, I have used this shade 35 times. So I really did use like a pretty fluffy brush when I picked into this palette, or into this shade. So I think that's why it took me so long, and it's pretty pigmented. I was using it pretty generously in my crease every day pretty much. So after 5 more uses, I've hit pan. Super happy to have this out. And I also have a bonus pan here you can see in the shade Flesh. That just happened while I was using this shade and the palette alongside the shade. And yeah, I'm super happy to have more use in this palette. I love it. It's a great one. Just easy, beautiful looks, no matter what. Really, you really can't go wrong. I love this palette so much. So yeah, I'm happy to be rolling this out, happy to have put some more love on it, and yeah, goodbye Anastasia Sultry, goodbye for now. Oh, and I want to do a quick swatch of it. So I learned from my lesson last time, so I'm gonna do swatches on my hand. I wasn't doing swatches on my hand before because I'm pretty tan, I have pretty deep skin, so a lot of these shades are, I don't know, they just don't show up the best, but you know, we're gonna make it work. So this is Birch. Kind of has like a sheen to it, that's kind of weird, but yeah, it's a nice neutral shade. It almost has like, leans cool a little bit. I mean, it is a cool tone palette, but I feel like it looks warmer in the pan. So yeah, that's that. So the next shade we're gonna talk about today is the shade Sultry. Not the Sultry palette, the shade Sultry in the Soft Glam palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills. So this month I used this shade an additional 8 times, and I hit pan. There she is, there's Sultry, and a nice big pan in there. I was using my finger to apply this most of the time, so it's got a nice dip in there. I've used a lot of this shade, and this shade really grew on me. At first I thought it was too dark for every day, but I found that when I sheared it out, it kind of read more of like a brown than a pink on my eye. It has like pretty much like a brown with like a pink shift or pink base when it's on the lid. So, and again, on this palette, I also hit another bonus pan. I hit bonus in that shade Tempera, which again was just using alongside the palette, alongside that shade. Mostly what I was using is Birch in the crease, Sultry on the lid, and then one of those cream shades to buff it out, whichever palette was closer to me at the moment. So yeah, got 2 more pans in my collection and another palette that I'm able to roll out. And again, I forgot to swatch it, so let me give you a swatch of Sultry. There's Sultry. You can see like kind of definitely has a brownie look to it, especially when it's sheared out. The next shade that we're going to talk about, the one I used, actually this probably should have been second. I skipped this one. We're going to talk about the shade we used in my Natasha Denona bronze palette, and that was the shade Suntan. So in the month of October, I used this shade Suntan 10 times, and in total, I've used this shade 32 times, and it looks like this. These palettes are really cool because you can like pop the shades out really easily. There's holes in the back, so you can easily rearrange it however you want. But yeah, so you can see I've got a little dip in there, but not much. For 30 uses, 32 uses, you'd think there'd be a little bit more. These shades are really pigmented, really densely packed. I'll try and insert a shade of what I'll try and insert a picture of what it looked like last month so you can see the difference. But I was really tempted to keep this palette in the project until I hit pan, just like work through it. And also this palette is just super beautiful for fall. I could see myself wearing this every day in the month of November, and I would be happy to put suntan in my crease every single day with a beautiful fall bronzy look. But I decided to not keep it in the collection because it's been in the collection since August. I've gotten a lot of love on this palette. I really do enjoy it. It's foolproof. Like every look I've done has been gorgeous. I kind of wish it had like a cream shade in it. Like this one's just not creamy enough, but it's pretty. And again, I would happily keep it in my collection, but it's brand new. I've only had it for a couple months, and I just want to use other palettes in my collection. I want to like give this one a break. I'll come back to it if it gets rolled back in or the next time the season rolls around, and I'll be, you know, thrilled to do that. But for now, I want to get use of the older palettes in my collection and give them a chance to get into the project. So I'm going to roll it out. I've used it 32 times. I think it would take me many more uses to get to pan. I would say at least 30 more uses. And again, I just want to try other stuff. The palettes that have been in this project, they were all rolled in at the beginning, at the start of the project. They've been in for 3 months. So that's a good amount of time. And my rule was going to be 30 uses and at least 3 months. And that one was both. So yeah, we can say goodbye to Natasha Nona for now, but we'll kiss her. Take care, and we'll see you soon, and we'll miss you until then. Oh, and guess what? I forgot to swatch it. Okay. Oh yeah, I used this one in the crease too when I was doing that look with Sultry. Like the 3 of these together. So this is suntan here, that's Birch, and that's Sultry. So I do Birch, then deepen up with suntan, and then Sultry on the lid. Pretty sheared out. So yeah, it was a really nice warm look. I think I actually wore that look in the last update that I filmed. So you can all see what it looked like there. So the next shade we're going to talk about is, I have used this month, I've used it a lot this month. I've used this shade 10 times this month. I was really focusing on Birch and sultry for a long time. So then once those were done, once I had hit pan on them, I started focusing on the shade and wearing it almost every day. The next shade we're going to talk about is from the Viseart Theory palette in the Amethyst palette, and it is shade number 4. When I count it like this, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's this shade right here, and I've used it 10 times this month, and you can see there is a good looking dent in there. And you can see I've also been getting some use out of the other shades in here too. It's been kind of fun to just give this palette the use it deserves because it was very expensive and I hardly ever used it before. So there it is. It's looking good. So in total, it has 13 uses. So I'm really hoping that this palette, I'm really hoping that this pan is right around the corner. I think maybe like 5 more uses, maybe 10 at the most. I'll have pan on that. So I'm hoping to roll this out by the next update. But for now, I've been enjoying using it. It's not the most appropriate for the season. It's what's on my lids today. And you can see it's pretty like easy to wear, nice and neutral. I've been putting this in my crease and that in on the lid, and then this is like a highlight, and I kind of buff it out with this one. And if I'm feeling fancy, I'll put in a little of the deeper purples. But yeah, it's an easy purple palette. Is it the best purple palette in the world? Like it was sold to me? No, I don't think it is, but I enjoy purples. I'm glad it's getting use. Again, I spent good money on it. So it's gonna be with us for another month. And there she is. You see, like hardly even reads purple. It's more just like a pretty shimmer, like a pinky shimmer. So yeah, it looks nice. It is a nice shade. Like Viseart does have good shimmers, I think. It's the only Viseart palette I have, so I don't know what the other ones are like, but I still don't think it's worth the money. Okay, and the last shade we're going to talk about is from my BH Cosmetics Take Me Back to Brazil palette. So the shade that I've been working on is the shade, it's the topper shade, the green topper shade, and I haven't been using that shade really. Like I was recommended, or someone suggested that I maybe use the green as an inner corner highlight, but it just looked kind of odd, especially with like my neutral looks, which was what I mostly wear. So instead of using that topper shade 30 times or hitting pan on that topper shade, which again is like huge, it's a huge pan, I just decided to use this palette 30 times, and that would be my goal for this. So I've been trying to use this in as many creative ways as I can. Luckily, it was just Halloween, and I was really able to get good use out of it for some Halloween looks for myself and my husband. So yeah, I was able to use this palette this month 7 times, and in total, I've used it 12 times, and this is what it looks like. So this is the shade that's like officially in the project. I have used it a handful of times, again, as like an inner corner highlight, or like a little like iridescent topper to change the hue of some shades. But I've really gotten a lot of other use out of some other shades in here. You can see I've used this red shade a ton. It's like an orangey red. I used that a lot. I was Chucky for Halloween, and my husband was Freddy Krueger. So I used like a cream paint to create the burns for Freddy Krueger and the cuts for Chucky. And then I set it and kind of brightened it with this like orangey red shade. I've also been using this black as a liner, and it actually works really well as a liner. I really like it. It's not so black, so it's almost like it's almost good that it's not so black because it like looks more natural. Like I can wear it every day. I'm wearing it as a liner today, and it's just super easy to stick my pencil brush in there and give myself a quick line way faster than liquid liner or reaching for another palette, and it gives me a use. So that might be how I get to my 30 uses. I also am gonna like try and like maybe integrate some of these purples with my other shade in my collection, in the Amethyst Theory palette. So yeah, that's the update on that. At least I'm getting love out of this palette. Again, I was pretty disappointed with this. I kind of just been using it for fun, like play makeup, like kind of fun, colorful looks or costume looks. So I'm glad I have it for that purpose. And I'll also be happy to have this out of my roulette pan. So in total, I've used it 12 times. I've got 18 more uses. I think I can do that in the month. But you'll see. Here's that iridescent topper shade. I don't know, it looks pretty in the swatch, but I feel like it's just kind of powdery. It like doesn't look pretty on the eye. It kind of takes over any look. Maybe I'm just not using it with the right look. I don't know. But again, we're not following the rules on this one. We're gonna use this, palette 30 times and then we're gonna say goodbye. Bye. Those are the shades I've been working on. These are the shades that are leaving, and the time has come. We get to roll in new shadows. It's been 3 months that I've been working on these shades, so I'm so excited. And I feel like this is always like the most exciting part of these videos. This is always my favorite part in the videos, so let's do it. I have my spreadsheet up here. We're going to use the Pretty Random app on my phone, which I've never done, but I've seen it. I've seen it so trendy. It's so fun how people do it. So we're gonna put the numbers 1 to 402 in my Pretty Random app. I have 402 eyeshadows in my collection at the moment. All right, are we ready? It's time. I feel like I need a drum roll. Okay, I'm just gonna put it up here. Can I shake it? Okay, I figured out the app. We're ready to roll it in. So I've got the numbers 1 to 402, and we're gonna get a shade. Let's go. Okay, shade 249. I'm gonna write that down. Shade 189. Oh my gosh, these nines. And shade 210. Oh my gosh, they're like all in the same middle part area of our spreadsheet. Okay, so I'm gonna check and see what those shades are, and then I'll come back and show you what we've got. All right, so I'm sorry about the change in lighting. The sun decided to just go down behind the hill. Welcome to daylight savings, living in a canyon. So I'm really excited to share with you the shades I rolled in. I rolled back in the Anastasia bronze palette. It's like they knew that I wanted to work with this still. So I rolled in the shade Ridge, which is actually like a really beautiful shade. It's like one of my favorite shades in the palette. It is, sorry, this shade here. It's like a really beautiful like mustard yellow color. It's kind of hard to tell with this lighting. But yeah, I'm gonna swatch it for you here. So I've gotten a little bit of use out of this shade, but not a ton. Really been like, you know, favoring suntan. So there's the swatch. It looks a lot more brown here, but it's like a nice mustard shade. Kind of like a mustardy brown, I guess. Yeah. So really excited to have this in for the fall. It's such a beautiful fall palette, and I highly doubt I will reach pan on this, but I'll enjoy using those 30 uses on that shade, and maybe I'll get closer to pan on suntans. Welcome to the project again, Natasha Denona. We missed you, but not for very long. The next shade we rolled in is from, I think, one of the oldest palettes I have in my collection, and if you watched my eyeshadow palette collection video, I talked about how I really wanted to get more use out of this palette. It's the Vice 4. It's really old. It still works great, performs well. I rolled in this first shade here. It's the shade Bones, and it's kind of like a silvery, like white, like silvery gray. I don't know. I'm not super excited about this shade, but I'm excited just to like have the palette around and get some use out of it. Let me swatch it for you. It's pretty, these shades are pretty densely packed as well. So this is the shade here, Bones. And I think that would actually be really nice as like an inner corner highlight, as a brow bone highlight. It swatches a little more transparent than it looks in the pan. I could see me using this shade to like buff out other looks. So yeah, I'm excited to get some use out of that one. Okay, and okay, I had like a problem. I apparently had put too many shades into one of my things in the spreadsheet, and so their numbers were off, I noticed. So I rolled in my ChaoticNeutral the Remix palette, which I love this palette. I love ChaoticNeutral, and this palette's just like super cute and sweet, and it has beautiful colors. So, but what happened is there's like two different colors that I got rolled in. So number 210 was originally this shade here, which is a really pretty pink color. It's called Bestie. But then when I fixed the shade number from the palette above it, it then bumped it to this shade here, Baby Girl, which is like, whoa, you know, like, do I want that palette? Do I want that color for the fall? And part of me wants to challenge myself. I'm looking at my palette that I have so far. And I think I'm actually going to take the easier route. I really did want color in my... I really did want color. Oh my gosh. This is hard. Okay, I'm gonna swatch them both. So there's Bestie and there's Baby Girl. Oh my gosh. This is hard. You know, I did want a colorful shade, and this whole project is about challenging yourself, and I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go for the challenge, and we are going to, and this is like the correct number anyways. I should go through and make sure the rest of them are correct so that we don't have this in the future. I guess instead of 402, we had 400. So I'm gonna go ahead and include Baby Girl into our palette. Okay, so here's our palette for the month. We have Baby Girl from the ShanXO Remix palette. We have Ridge from the Natasha Denona Bronze palette. We have that freaking crazy iridescent shade from the BH Cosmetics Take Me Back to Brazil palette, which is not really being used. And then we have the the Viseart Theory palette in the shade Amethyst. This is from shade number 4. They don't have names. And then this is from the Urban Decay Vice 4 palette in the shade Bones. Okay, so there you have it. I'm excited to try all these. I mean, this is definitely more of a challenge than my last one. Got a lot of, maybe I can use that pink with the purple shade for some pretty pink looks. My parents at kindergarten are gonna think I'm weird with all these colors on my eyes, but you know what? I don't care what people think, right? It's not what life is all about. Okay, so those are all of my pans and all of my new shades to come into this project. I'm having a lot of fun. I hope you all enjoyed watching my update and seeing all the shades that got rolled in, and I can't wait to check in with you all next month and let you know how my progress is going. If you like this video, go ahead and click that like button. And if you like me, go ahead and subscribe so you can see more of my videos to come. I'm really enjoying making them, and I'm enjoying sharing them with you. So until I see you again, take care.